Alright, so at this point, if all you were doing was the lower control arm tabs, we would be done. I know I did tell you at the beginning of this video that we would be doing the outer tie rods, which I did do. The bearings in the coilover, they're located right here, the spherical bearings. They seem to be in good shape, so I'm going to go ahead and leave them alone and just keep the ones that I bought in case later on I need them. And then we can go ahead and move on to our upper control arms. As you can see, I got both sides done. I have them in a spot where I think will be a good starting point for the alignment shop to go ahead and, you know, give me max caster. So as you can see, these bolts are inward towards the frame, and then if you go to the back ones, they're going to be outward. So that's going to push my tires as far forward as we possibly can. Of course, we still got to get it into spec, so we're going to go ahead and take it into the shop after we go ahead and get the upper control arms done and get them to alignment, see what we can get out of it. So moving on to the upper control arms, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to move this jack from here. I'm going to go ahead and put it under the lower control arm. That way we are going to be busting loose the upper ball joint, and when you do that, it's going to want to push the entire hub assembly in, and I don't want that. So I'm going to go ahead and put the jack here. So this is a 10mm up here for the ABS line. I'm going to go ahead and get that off and get it out of the way. Looks like it actually pulled the stud, which ain't a problem. It'll screw back in just as well. I'm going to go ahead and just put it back in the upper control arm so I don't lose it. Alright, perfect. So now we kind of got this laid up and out of the way, so we don't want to get it all bound up. And then I'm going to go ahead and move this jack, and then I'm going to get ready to bust loose the upper ball joint. Alright, so our upper ball joint is going to be a 21mm. If we're lucky, it will come off. If it doesn't, we'll need to grab a wrench. Use a wrench up on the top, and then there's a bolt in on the bottom of this ball joint stud. So we can actually put a wrench here if we have trouble with it spinning. I didn't on the other side, but we'll see how. Alright, looks like we got lucky this time. I'm going to go ahead and just leave it in a few threads. And then I'm going to go ahead and get a pry bar. I'm going to put it under here. And then I'm going to give this a whack, see if we can get this upper ball joint. Alright, so now that I've got the ball joint busted loose, I'm going to go ahead and work on loosening this bolt here. Once I do get it loose, it will, even though it's a really long bolt, it will push all the way through that way so I can get this upper control arm off. Now that we've got the ball joint pressed in and the control arms all cleaned up, we're going to go ahead and install our new bushings. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and take a thin layer of grease and I'm going to place it inside. I'm going to just go ahead and put a film of grease in here. Go ahead and repeat that on the other side. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put a thin layer of grease on the inside of this bushing here. Go ahead and install that. Now there is an isolator that goes in these. I'm going to go ahead and put the metal sleeve in. And then I'm going to put my isolator in. And then I'm going to go ahead and put that thin layer of grease on the other one. And I'm going to go ahead and give her an install. And we're just going to go ahead and repeat that on the other side. Well, and as you can see, I got my washers here. We're going to have 2 washers on the inside, 2 washers on the outside when we install that. You want to make sure that you put those on or your bushings are not going to stay in place and you could result into some type of damage. Okay, so this to me is the hardest part of the whole process. Is going to be reinstalling the upper control arm and fighting with the washers and the very long bolt. So I'm going to go ahead and start. I'm going to go ahead and slide me a washer up here. And I'm going to get a washer ready for the upper control arm. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and try to get the bolt started. Alright, so now that we've got that worked down, we're going to go ahead and try to work another washer in there. Alright. Now we're going to feed it through the tube. And before we get too far along, we are going to try and get this set up. On this side, the washer is going to be kind of hard to get in. So normally what I'll do is I'll put a pry bar between here. And that way it just gives me enough room to slip this washer in. And makes life a whole lot easier. Alright, now we've got it all the way through. I'm going to go ahead and add my last washer and my nut. Notice I'm just going to snug this up. I'm not going to completely tighten it or torque it down until the vehicle is settled on the ground under its full weight. Alright. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and try to get our ball joint into the knuckle. Beautiful. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and reinstall our ABS line. And then we are going to retorque the upper ball joint to the specified 75 foot-pounds. So this is going to conclude our video for doing the lower control arm tabs, the upper control arm, the outer tie rod. I did go ahead and torque all of the eccentric bolts underneath at 129 foot-pounds per the manufacturer's specifications. I'm going to go ahead and leave the skids and everything off because I'm going to be headed over to the alignment shop. It'll just be a little bit easier for them to access everything and get it all taken care of.